the video. So it gives you an idea what I watch. Okay, so here. Now, two things I'm going to have to do in this session. I'm going to show that Beck Lover, this Mohammedan pagan, his God is a youth who's beardless with curly hair, who doesn't follow Sunnah. And then I'm going to show him that according to authentic teachings of Sunni Islam, remember I said these are two things we'll discuss? According to the authentic teachings of Islam, you can invoke Muhammad. And I showed you that in part 3, right? Part 3, I showed you there. You go to his grave, you talk to him in his grave and ask him to pray for you. But you don't need to go to his grave. You can invoke Muhammad where you're at, pray to Muhammad, ask him for help. And this is known, right? This is known in Sunni Islam as tawassul. Okay, let me repeat. Class has begun. Tawassul, rumble, right? Wasila, seeking a means of approaching Allah. What we would call intercession, particularly intercession of saints. Sunni Muslims, bar the Salafis, there are a fringe group in Sunni Islam. Shia, definitely, they all accept what's called tawassul, which we would call intercession of saints. Invoking the friends of Allah, the awliya of Allah. This is part and parcel of traditional Islam, Sunni Islam, Shia Islam. It's the militant, radical, puritanical Salafis, like Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, that say this is idolatry. Okay, you with me there? Tawassul. Also, you have what's called istighada. Istighada is when you call out to Muhammad or his companions or a righteous saint. Like you say, Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali. Do you know that this is part and parcel of traditional, authentic Sunni and Shia Islam? So don't let this guy Beck, who's an ignoramus, a pagan, Mohammedan pagan, stone kisser, because he's got to kiss the stone back. Bring your boyfriend, Sonny Faggot, I mean Fez, 2-on-1. Let's see if you can refute me. Not talk about me, but refute me. I've been tagging you. Let's see if you and him are brave enough, apart from jihad, beheading people and molesting women, to take me on, to see if you can refute me. No, Bree, it's not. It is part of Islam. Remember, 1 hour, 24-minute, 45-second mark. We got about 3 hours. Saddle in, pray for me, the Spirit guide me. Recall facts perfectly, no error, destroy sin in us, to glorify Jesus Christ and expose Islam. It is part of Sunni Islam. It's called tawassul. Most Muslims are not Salafi. They won't sell you for a fee. Most Muslims would identify as Ash'ari or Maturidi. These are the Muslims who don't think that Allah literally has hands, unlike anything but their hands. They will tell you these are metaphors. Hand means his power. Eyes means he can see. And among them are scholars such as Hamza Yusuf Hansen, right? Among them are Imam Zayd Shakir. Among them, who's a pseudo-intellect, a fraud who thinks he's a scholar, is Ali Atai. They do not believe Allah has actual hands, a shin and a foot, and testicles. They explain them away as metaphorical. And they do believe in intercession of saints. They call it tawassul, so that you can ask Muhammad or his companion like Ali or a righteous saint. You can even call out to them by name. Istighada, Ya Allah. I'm sorry, no. Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad. It's part of their teaching, and they'll tell you this is authentic Sunni Islam before the rise and influence of people like Ibn Taymiyyah, who comes 700 years after the death of Muhammad. Don't let him deceive you, right? Istighada and tawassul, part of Sunni Islam. It's not the Shia Islam. It's not just Shia Islam, right? Don't let them deceive you. And I'm going to give you the receipts. So this pagan said, supplication is not worship. Bowing is worship. Wrong on both counts. Supplication is worship. Muhammad said it is worship. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's illiterate, uneducated when it comes to the Bible and even Islam. And I showed you that Allah commanded creatures to bow down to Adam and commanded Joseph's parents and his brothers bow down to Joseph, performing an act of sujood, sajda, prostration, which is supposed to be only for Allah. Make sure you rewatch the sessions, read the articles, master material. Another element of Islam that is widespread in Sunni and Shia Islam, right, is what's called tasawwuf, or what we call Sufism. You know, the Sufis, this group of Muslims who seek a deeper spiritual experience with their God so that they're engulfed by God's presence and they be completely one with God, their God, Allah. This is also part and parcel of traditional, authentic Sunni, not just Shia Islam. Yeah, gonads means testicles. Now let me get you some receipts. Now remember the time. 1 hour, 24 minute, 45-second mark. So two things I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you that Muslims do pray to Muhammad. I showed you that yesterday. I'm going to show you more receipts. Though he's dead, buried under the feet of Jesus, because he's an antichrist, full of Satan. And his God is a youth. He's a male youth that has no beard, so he doesn't follow Sunnah, curly hair, among other things. But here, if you don't believe me, okay, Hamza Yusuf on Tawassul. You ready? Here it is from Hamza Yusuf. And see, Tawassul istighada. Right? Istighada. Now, I don't want to play the entire 14 minutes because I don't want to get flagged. So I'm going to play this short one here where he's rebuking the Salafis who accuse him of worshiping Muhammad because he prays to him. Okay? Now, for those of you who don't know who, here, Tawassul. Just put in Hamza Yusuf, Tawassul, T-A-W-A-S-S-U-L, Tawassul. Just put that in. Watch how many videos from Sunni Muslims like Hamza Yusuf and others that tell you this is part of Sunni Islam prior to the rise of Ibn Taymiyyah, who called some aspects of it into question. And Ibn Taymiyyah came 700 years after Muhammad died and was buried by Jesus in hell. Okay? I'm just going to play this clip. Now, remember, YouTube, copyright law allows fair use of excerpts for educational purposes. Here you go.
I mean, generally, our opinion...
Now, by the way, this is as loud as it gets. Try to listen. And here's another one. Sheikh Ninoui. Is tawassul permissible? Yes. And he gives you the evidence. Can you hear him, by the way?
I mean, when I say our, I'm not putting myself with the ulama, trust me. I mean, our opinion for people of Ahl Sunnah and Jama'ah and the... Can
you hear him? This is as loud as it gets. Rumble, can you hear him? Make Rumble great again. David, I want a Little Caesar. I want Giordano's. Okay. Listen. What is the dominant opinion? Can you ask Muhammad, who's dead, and others who are dead to pray for you? Yeah, because they're alive to them.
Dominant configuration of that, because there are minority opinions within the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, but the dominant opinion, the opinion that I was taught, the opinion of my teachers, is that tawassul is permitted.
The dominant opinion, the majority opinion, by his scholars, his teachers, tawassul, seeking the means of approaching Allah through mediation, meaning praying to Muhammad and others, that is permitted. It's not shirk. Listen.
The Prophet ﷺ for intercession is permitted.
See?
Like that. That's what I was taught. And
more time.
That's what is permitted. Things like that. That's what I.
Sorry.
That's what I believe. The opinion of my teachers is that tawassul is permitted. To ask the Prophet ﷺ for intercession is permitted. Things like that. That's what I was taught, and that's what I believe, and that's I think that is the strongest opinion. Tawassulu bijahi fa inna jahi 'inda Allahi 'azim. It's a weak hadith, but it's related. I mean, it's not fabricated hadith.
You hear it? Another thing that I've exposed is the lie of these Salafis tell you if a hadith is classified weak, da'if, you can't trust it. Lie from the pit of hell. I have played clips from Hamza Yusuf and other scholars, and you can put Hamza Yusuf weak hadith. Do not let a Muslim tell you if it's a weak hadith, it's not reliable. Two problems. Number one, even your sound hadiths are garbage. Even your sahih narrations, they're all lies. So if I'm going to follow that right, burn all your hadith collections, even the sound ones, throw them in the toilet along with your Quran, because it's a book of Satan. But according to hadith scholars, the principles of authenticating hadiths, if a narration is deemed da'if, weak, it means it passed. It means you cannot throw it out as a forgery, as unreliable, as a fraud. Because it passes, it is like a D minus. He gave the gradings. You have mutawatir hadith that are sahih, they're A plus. Then sahih hadith, they're A. Then you have hasan, they're B plus, B, right? And even a da'if hadith can be C minus, D. Passes. That's why they couldn't throw it out. They had to include it. So don't let them lie to you. And if you have enough narrations, multiple narrations that are da'if, meaning determined weak, but they come from different, let's say, chains. So I have, like, say, 10 chains, different chains of different transmitters. They're all saying the same thing, though they're all classified weak. It will then strengthen the chain. You understand? So this is the logic. So I find 10 different chains with 10 different chains of transmitters in each chain. They're all weak, but they're all affirming this point because of the multiplicity of the chain of transmission from different transmitters, right? Different individuals, and all of these chains are all saying the same thing. Then it strengthens that report. Okay, you with me there? Learn their hadith science so they don't deceive you. You with me there? Learn their hadith science so they don't deceive you. And if you're very happy and you're taken for granted that you're happy, go to Mango Bango's Facebook page so he can depress the hell out of you so you can appreciate your happy moments. Okay, everyone with me? So, you got it? Weak means pass. So he's referring to a weak narration about seeking Muhammad's intercession, but it passed. But he's going to mention one that's authentic.
And the hadith of Uthman ibn Hunayf is the strongest one, because that's a sahih hadith without any debate.
I'm going to read that hadith. He goes, there's a hadith from Uthman ibn Hunayf when Muhammad taught a blind man to go perform 2 rakat, perform ablution wudu, 2 rakat, prostrations, then say, Allahumma, O Allah, I seek your help through the mediation of Muhammad. And then he says, O Muhammad, Ya Muhammad, I seek your intercession with my Lord. Sound narration, sahih, taught by Muhammad. I'm going to get into it.
And Ibn Taymiyyah's interpretation of it goes against all the other ulama. So with all due respect to Ibn Taymiyyah, the ulama just rejected that rejection of that hadith. So the hadith.
Now, what does he mean? Ibn Taymiyyah came 700 years later, took this sound narration, sahih, where Muhammad told the blind man to pray to Muhammad and pray to Allah. And I'll read you the hadith. He's going to mention it. Ibn Taymiyyah tried to reject it and weaken it. And he goes, sorry, he is an isolated critic, meaning Ibn Taymiyyah's rejection is sole because the majority of scholars before and after him rejected his criticism because he was wrong. Okay, listen.
Hadith of Uthman ibn Hunayf is a sound hadith, and the Prophet taught him how to make the dua, tashri'an. He could have made the shafa'ah right there because he asked him to intercede for me, but he told him, go do wudu. When you finish your wudu, pray the rakats, and then pray this prayer.
This prayer.
Allahumma inni as'aluka bi nabiyyika Muhammad.
See?
I ask you through your Prophet Muhammad. And then he said, say, Ya Muhammad.
That's in the hadith.
And then he said to say that in his dua, Ya Muhammad.
Yep, pray to me.
Inni atashafa'u ilayka. Abika ila Rabbi. I'm asking your shafa'ah, your intercession to my Lord.
See?
Allahumma shafi'u fiyya wa shafi'ni fi nafsi. Oh Allah, make him my intercessor with you.
See?
And make me an intercessor also. In other words, make me worthy of interceding for others.
What was that? This pagan Muhammadan, this ignoramus, intellectual fraud, pagan Muhammadan, Beck say that the Catholics, Orthodox have you pray to saints, worship saints, and that we don't have a middleman. Okay, now remember the 2-hour, 6-second mark. Let's see if he says, because I'm going to go to the hadith.
That dua is sound dua.
That dua is sound. This is an invocation that sound. It's sahih. It passes the test, and no one rejected it besides Ibn Taymiyyah.
It's pretty clear.
Pretty clear. Okay. 2 minutes, 12-second mark. We're going to come back. Remember, 2 minutes, 12-second mark. Now let's go through the hadith. Let's go to the hadith. I'm going to enlarge my screen in a minute. I don't know. This guy liking my posts? Okay. See my OCD, ADHD? When I see stuff like this, it triggers my brain, and I won't be comfortable until I clear it out. You see how I am? And you tell me I'm normal? Tell me I'm normal? All right. See? All right. Now, let's go to hijab. Okay. Supplication. And I'm going to get you the article right here. Here it is. Let's enlarge it. And I'll get you the link. Here it is, folks. The debate that made Muhammad Hijab an international star thanks to David Wood. Even though Muhammad Hijab's arguments were pathetic and David won just on substance, but he let the guy bully him and overpower him and talk over him. And even Muhammad Hijab says he became famous. Gave it to David Wood. Good job, David. You made Uthman, Fibbin, Ibn, Ketchup Boy, the lying, murdering jihadi, the womanizer had 2 wives at the same time, who took his Muslim buddy's wife to bed, tried to cover it up, who staged a stabbing. By your interactions, you made him famous, right? Embarrassing us. That's why I had to walk away, because your tactics. I even complained to Anthony Rogers that day, but if you talk back to big old David Wood, he's going to get upset and then cut you off. You suck, man. The Lord rebuke you to repent, and may we finish the race. Anyway, you made 2 people famous. You made them superstars. Yeah. If you go ask, there's a clip. Muhammad Hijab is asked, when did you become famous? After my debate with David Wood. Even Zionist princess, Christian prince, called him out for it. But, you know, I was trying to maintain a peace and just shut up. Right? There you go. Now, let's see. What has he done? First of all, let me remind you of what I shared the other day. The pagan said, Beck, that supplication is not worship. That shows you you're illiterate like Muhammad, Beck. You and your boyfriend or your girlfriend by day, Sonny Faggot, I mean Fez, you can do more videos barking. But both of you, I'm here, call my bluff. 2 on 1. Because not even your God can save you from me, because your God doesn't exist. My God, Almighty Jesus, Almighty Son of God, is real. He's alive. And Muhammad is dead under his feet. So that's why all you guys can do is try to kill people. That's all you can do. Intellectually, you've lost. Spiritually, you're lost. Now, what did Muhammad say? Supplication. It is worship. Here you go. Aisha Biuli, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad Al-Bukhari. The link has changed. You can find it. She updated her, she changed her website, but it's still online. You can even put this in archive, because I don't want to go back and have to change all the links again. But here you go. First of all, what did Muhammad say? From Al-Adab Al-Mufrad Al-Bukhari. This is another collection by Bukhari. Number 712 to 714. Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet said, nothing is dearer to Allah than supplication. Remember, he said supplication is not worship. Well, pagan, your pagan prophet said it is. Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet said the noblest act of worship is supplication. You guys see it? is supplication. There is no more noble act, better act than to supplicate. And in this hadith right here, An-Nu'man ibn Bashir reported that the Prophet said supplication is worship. Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. It is worship. But he told us it wasn't. And then he quotes the Quran to prove it, chapter 40, verse 60. Then he recited, call on me, and I will answer you. Okay? How about this one? This comes from the English translation, Jamia Tirmidhi, volume 6, pages 102 and 103, but you can find it online here. Right here. But I'm going to read because I had the hard copy. On the online version, you don't have the notes of the translators. That's the only disadvantage. But here you go. Sahih. Sound right? It says Sahih. Okay. An-Nu'man bin Bashir, or Bashir, narrated that the Prophet said supplication is worship. It is worship itself. Then he recited, and your Lord said, call upon me, I'll respond to you. Verily those who scorn my worship, they will surely enter hell humiliated. All right. Now in the hard copy, if you have it, there's a note. Here's the note. Supplication is worship in itself. Supplication is worship in itself. And for proof, the Prophet recited the verse of Surah Al-Ghafir, chapter 40, verse 60. Call upon me, I'll respond to you. Verily, those who scorn my worship, they will surely enter hell humiliated. This verse shows that no begging his favors is a sign of scorn, as supplication is the essence of worship. Without its essence, if you don't supplicate, the supplication is nothing but lifeless utterances. So is Beck stupid, uneducated about Islam as he is about Christianity, or is he a liar? It's one of the two, right? Go back and play the clips. He says, supplication is not worship. Remember he said that? And watch what he's going to say about jizya and how I'm going to embarrass him there. But now, how does this prove that Beck's religion is paganism, idolatry, and man worship? That they are Muhammadans? Well, number one, 5 times a day, they have to perform their prayers. Part of their prayers is tashahhud. You guys ready for the barbecue? Tashahhud. So 5 times a day, when Muslims pray, they have to say, Assalamu alayka. Peace be upon you, Ayyuhan Nabi. Peace be upon you, O Prophet, Allah's mercy and blessings. Sahih Muslim, book 4, number 798. No one's going to deny it. That pagan's not going to deny it. Here it is. Assalamu alayka, Ayyuhan Nabi, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be upon you, O Prophet, and the mercy of Allah and His blessing. 5 times a day, they're speaking to a dead man in their worship. 5 times a day. Do you know that? 5 times a day, they are speaking to a dead man and saying to the dead man, we ask Allah to grant you His peace, His mercy, and blessings. You guys got it, or you didn't get it? You went to sleep. 5 times a day. Okay, now, number one, when they pray for themselves, they'll say, peace be on us and the slaves of Allah who are the salihun, the righteous. Okay. Number one, why are you talking to a dead man? He's dead and buried in Medina. His body is rotted. Number two, why do you need to pray that Allah will grant Muhammad peace and mercy? Is he not already in a state of peace and mercy? It's like praying for the Apostle Paul and asking Jesus to grant him peace and mercy. If Paul isn't in a state of peace and mercy, there's no hope for any of us. Here they say the most perfect creature, Al-Insan Al-Kamil, that's one of his names. Sayyid Al-Mursaleen, the master of those who are sent, meaning he's the Lord over all the other messengers, and he's a perfect man, needs you to ask Allah to give him peace and mercy. Why? He's not in his state of peace and mercy? All right, well, if you have sincere questions, I'll bring you up in a minute. You with me there? No, they'll say he's in Barzakh. That's in an intermediate state, Bri. Martyrs go to Jannah, right? But everyone else will be in Barzakh, meaning they're in this afterlife that's connected to their grave, right? It's called Barzakh. You with me there? Yeah, be pro-Christian, Eric. You're like an hour behind. Let's focus. All right, well, that's not even bad. Guess what the Muslim sources say Allah enables Muhammad to do? And what the Muslim sources say, Allah signs for Muhammad. Do you know that when Muslims say, peace be upon you, according to the sound narrations, Muhammad sees and hears your supplications? Here it is. Where am I quoting from? Let me just show you. Qadiyat ibn Musa al-Yahsubi, Kitab al-Shifa bi Tarif Huquq al-Mustafa, right? Qadiyat, a book that was recommended by Hamza Yusuf, Healing by the Recognition of the Rights of the Chosen One, channeled by Aisha Abdur Rahman Bewley, right? Pages 262, 263. All right, now, look what it says here. Abu Hurairah said that the Messenger of Allah said, whenever anyone greets me with peace, Allah will return my soul to me so that I can return the greeting. So his soul goes back into his body. And if you say, Assalamu alayka ahyu nabi, he'll say, Alaykum salam, Bri. Alaykum salam, Michael Lawler. See? Abu Bakr ibn Abi Shayba mentions that Abu Hurairah said that the Messenger of Allah said, I will hear whoever blesses him at my grave. See? Go to my grave. I will hear you in my grave. That's what I showed you in part 3. If someone is far away and blesses me, that is also conveyed to me. So, if Muhammad is rotting in his grave, his body, and his soul is in hell, but they say it's not. If you're in Hawaii and you go, Assalamu alayka ahyu nabi, he will then be told, and he'll hear it. And they'll say, Alaykum salam. Ibn Umar said, do a lot of prayer on your prophet every Jummah. Every time you come to pray, congregational prayer on Friday, it is brought to him from you from every Jummah all over the world on Friday. All the Muslims on Friday, everyone who says Assalamu alaikum, alayka, I'm sorry, Assalamu alayka, ahyu nabi, peace be upon you, O Prophet, he's hearing it. Assalamu alaikum. Now watch. One version has, none of you blesses me, but that his prayer is shown to me when he finishes it. He then sees your praying to him. So wait, you don't pray to Muhammad? You don't worship Muhammad? You're not Muhammadans? And Muhammad is not given divine qualities? I've already refuted the canard. The difference between the ancient teaching of the church, intercession of saints, with this. We'll say, well, don't you have the same no, because guys, people want to be nitpickers and want to just hate and not be open-minded and honest and listen. Remember what Muhammad said? Supplication is worship. He said it. To invoke, supplicate, that's worship. Nowhere in the Bible, nowhere in the early church does it say if you invoke someone, that is an act of worship due to God. See the difference now? I'm using Muhammad's standard, his criterion, to show that Muhammad is a pagan, Beck is a pagan, they're idolaters, and they're worshiping a dead man. Why? Muhammad said, remember I just showed it to you, Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. supplicating, invoking is worship. That means when you supplicate Muhammad, invoke Muhammad, according to Muhammad's criterion, you're worshiping him. There is no Bible verse, there is no church father, church writer that says, if you invoke, supplicate an angel or a saint, that is worship due to God alone, or if you just supplicate, that's worship. Doesn't exist. So don't use Muhammad's criterion against me. I'm using his words against you. And these are sound narrations. So you can't just explain them away. Right? But wait, that's not, that we're not even nowhere near done, man. Shoot. Say what? Nowhere near done, Holmes? Shoot. Now watch here. Let's go. Are you learning the difference, guys, or are you going to sleep? So they're shown to me. Al-Hasan ibn Ali said that the Prophet said, bless me wherever you are, your prayer will reach me. One of them mentioned that the name of someone who blesses the Prophet is shown to the Prophet when he does it. Al-Hasan ibn Ali said, when you enter the mosque, greet the Prophet. See, notice, when you go to the Masjid al-Nabi in Medina, right? Great Muhammad. The Messenger of Allah said, do not make my house a place of Eid. Don't celebrate festivals in my mosque, and do not make your houses graves. Bless me wherever you are. Your prayer will reach me wherever you are. So even if you're not in his mosque, if you're in a mosque in Honolulu, bless him. It'll reach him. Sulaiman ibn Suhyam said that he saw the Prophet in a dream and asked him, Messenger of Allah, do you recognize the greeting of those who come to you? He replied, yes, and I answer them. So he answers every person. Okay. How about, let's go to another one. Right here. You know what? Where did I quote from? This is from. Yep. Riyad al-Salihin. The book of supplicating Allah. This was wondering here. It's right here. Boom. There you go, right here. They didn't change a URL on me. Well, keep praying the Spirit fill me so I can then pour out into you. And then we practice what we preach. Here you go. Aus bin Aus. By the way, this is old stuff. I have dozens of sessions on deification of Muhammad. The Messenger of Allah said, among the best of your days is Friday. Friday is the best. So supplicate Allah more often for me in it. Pray a lot more for me. For your supplications will be displayed to me. He asked, O Messenger of Allah, how will our blessings be displayed to you when your decayed body will have mixed with the earth? Now watch this lie, proving he's a fraud. He replied, Allah has prohibited the earth from consuming the bodies of the prophets. Lie. I'm going to show you this shows that Muhammad is a liar. All right. Abu Dawud, and this is hadith number 1399. Abu Hurairah reported, the Messenger of Allah said, do not make my grave a place of festivity and supplicate for me, for your supplication reaches me wherever you are. So it's brought to him. Again, Abu Dawud. Abu Hurairah again, father of the cats. That's what his name literally means. Messenger of Allah said, when someone greets me, Allah returns a soul to my body in the grave and I return his greeting. See that? So what was that about supplicating and having a middleman and having an intercessor and a mediator and praying to saints? Your filthy religion is all based on worship of Muhammad. It's Muhammad worship. You are Mohammedans. That's why Christians have always accused you guys of being pagans, worshiping a false prophet and then worshiping a black stone. Right? Worshipping a false prophet and worshiping a black stone. And you have the audacity to attack us. Oh, but we're not done yet. I'm going to show you the lie. He says that the earth does not consume the bodies of the prophets. Again, a bold-faced lie. Now, I read this in the previous session. I don't need to read it again. Remember where 464 says, go to the grave of Muhammad? We already looked at this. No need to look at it again. You remember this? Make sure you remember these arguments. But here's the good one. The goodie. Right? Sahih. We're not at the good part yet. This is Sahih Sunan Nasa'i. Sent salams upon the Prophet. It was narrated that Abdullah said, the Messenger of Allah said, Allah has angels who travel on the earth conveying to me the salams of my ummah. See, angels and Allah have nothing better to do but to pray for Muhammad and demand people pray for Muhammad and have angels report to Muhammad the people are praying for him. Okay? But wait, let me go to the other article. Let me go to this one. Ready? I'm going to give you this one. Uthman, blind man. I see, said the blind man, but I don't know what the blind man saw. This one here is an excerpt from a book, full-length defense of this hadith. Anyone who tells you this hadith is weak, they're lying through their teeth. So I extracted it from a book that refuted the claim that this hadith, where you pray to Muhammad and Allah, is weak. Lie. Boom. Right there. But let me go to... See, there's so many of them. But let me go to this one. Should I go to... Let me see here. Okay, Uthman. Yeah, see, I told you. I got too many of them, but 1 second. So, guys, I'm going to put this later in the description box, but go and check. Let me see here. Uthman, here you go, baby. You ready? You ready? Remember the hadith that Hamza Yusuf mentioned about the blind man, Uthman ibn Hunayf telling the blind man, or reporting about the blind man with a sahih narration? You ready for it? Rumble, you ready for it? Let's go. Now, what's the narration? Sahih. English translation, Jamia Tirmidhi. Okay, volume 6, page 283, but it's online. What's the grading online? Sahih. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Okay, here it is. Number 3578, Uthman bin Hunayf narrated a blind man came to the Prophet and said to him, supplicate to Allah to heal me. He said, if you wish, I will supplicate for you. And if you wish, you can be patient, for that is better for you. He said, then supplicate to him. He said, now look, Muhammad doesn't pray for him. Look what he tells him to do. So he ordered him to perform wudu, cleansing for prayer, make his wudu complete, to supplicate with supplicate. And look, Muhammad is telling him, go to your home and pray, or go to the prayer place and pray this. Look what he's telling him to pray. Oh Allah, I ask you and turn towards you by your Prophet Muhammad. There's the middleman. Prophet mercy. Indeed, I have turned to my Lord by means of you. Now he's talking to Muhammad. Concerning this intercession, this need of mine, so that can resolve. So Allah, so accept his intercession for me. Okay? All right. Now, that's one version. This hadith is Hassan Sahih Gharib. Here's another one. Again, where's it from? English translation, Sunan Ibn Majah, and it's Sahih. Okay, right here. Watch this one, guys. (1385). It was narrated from Uthman ibn Hunayf that a blind man came to the Prophet and said to him, pray to Allah to heal me. He said, if you wish to store reward for the hereafter, that is better. Or if you wish, I will supplicate for you. In other words, endure your suffering, you'll be rewarded. He said, supplicate. He said, so he told them to perform ablution, do it well, and to pray 2 rak'ah, and to say, now watch, this supplication. Allahumma, this is what Hamza Yusuf is reciting in Arabic. Be Muhammadan, by Muhammad. I'll give you the English translation in a minute, but I want you to see. Be Muhammadan mean by Muhammad, the Prophet of mercy. But then here, Ya Muhammadu. Now he's praying to Muhammad. Here's the translation. Oh Allah, I ask you of you and turn my face towards you by virtue of the intercession of Muhammad. But that's not what makes it bad. Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad, I have turned to my Lord by virtue of your intercession. Now he's praying to Muhammad. Now he's praying to Muhammad. You see that, Rumble? See that? Concerning this need of mine, so it made me met, oh Allah, accept his intercession concerning me. Sahih. But wait. Muhammad died. And around 650 AD, Uthman ibn Affan becomes the caliph. So around 30 years after Muhammad died, watch, they pray this prayer again. Uthman ibn Hunayf tells someone 30 years approximately after Muhammad's death, 20 years, because remember Muhammad is reported to have died 632 AD. He went to Medina 622. So 20 years after Muhammad's death, 20 years, in the 650s, Uthman ibn Hunayf tells a man to say this prayer so that Allah will hear him. Here it is. The hadith of the man in need. You ready? Exactly. Beautifully put. You ready? The hadith of the man in need. Moreover, Tabarani in his Al-Mujam al-Sakhir. Mujam al-Sakhir reports a hadith from Uthman ibn Hunayf, that same narrator that we just read, who narrated the blind man's story, that a man repeatedly visited Uthman ibn Affan concerning something he needed, but Uthman paid no attention to him or his need. The man met Ibn Hunayf and complained to him about the matter, this being after the death, Wisal, of the Prophet. After the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar, they're all dead. So Uthman ibn Hunayf, who was one of the companions who collected hadiths and was learned in the religion of Allah, said, go to the place of ablution and perform ablution, then come to the mosque, masjid, perform 2 rak'ahs of prayer therein and say. So Uthman ibn Hunayf is telling him what he saw and heard Muhammad tell the blind man. So now Uthman is telling him, do this. 20 years after Muhammad is dead. Oh Allah, I ask you and turn to you through our Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet of mercy. Oh Muhammad, Ya Muhammad, I turn through you to my Lord, that he may fulfill my need, and mention your name. And then suddenly, Uthman ibn Affan noticed him, gave him an audience, and his prayer was answered. See it? 20 years after Muhammad's death, they're still praying this prayer. But wait, is this da'if? This is a da'if narration? This is an explicit, unequivocal text from a prophetic companion, proving the legal validity of tawassul through the dead. The account has been classified as rigorously authenticated, sahih, by Bayhaqi, Mundhiri, and Haythami. And who wrote this? Nu Ha Mim Keller, Tawassul, supplicate Allah through an intermediary, from reliance of the traveler. Now, I don't know if it's online. Let's see. Yep, it's online. Save it. See? See? I gotta probably have to add all of this too. Yep, I'm gonna have to add this too. Let me go here. I'm gonna have to add this right here. Yep, let me add the rest of it later. Yep, let me do this. I'm gonna add this material later. 1 second, because that gives you a whole chain. You caught it? Yeah, let me do this. I'll do this later. Anyway, I just want to save it for later. All right, I'm gonna include that because it gives you a whole chain. Whole chain of folks. Let me just do this. Sorry. Because I want to make sure they don't squirm their way out of it. Squirm their way out of it. No, brother, if you don't know hadith, brother. You don't know science of hadith, brother. You don't know, you're not a faqih, you're not a scholar, you're not an alim. Right? You're not a qadi, brother. You're not a qadi, brother. You don't need qadi. All right. Now let me just do this. 1 second. What day is it? All right. So we see that, right? So according to Beck, he's now a pagan. He's now a Muhammadan. He's a man worshiper. He's an idolater, because his authentic source say he prays to Muhammad, invokes Muhammad, a dead man, under the feet of Jesus Christ. And he kisses a black stone if he performs Hajj. Okay? Pagan. What about his God? Is his God a youth? Is his God a youth? You ready for that one? Brother? But let's finish this.
I mean, generally, our opinion.
2 minutes, 12 seconds. Look, let's finish the rest of this. You guys not bored yet, right? Because I'm trying my best to make you bored, but it's not working. Okay, listen to the rest of this.
Well, it's a weak opinion. The other opinion.
The opinion that says this hadith, right, is not authentic, that's weak opinion. Their opinion is weak.
That's a 7th century innovation. Before the 7th century, nobody said that.
Jared? Before Ibn Taymiyyah, 7th century means 600 years, 700 years after the death of Muhammad, because he's writing in the 1300s, right? 700 years. No one prior to that held the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah. Listen to what he's telling you. No one denied the authenticity of these narrations.
But to intercede with the Prophet's not acceptable. That's a 7th century opinion. Before that, none of the Salaf said that. None of them. There's nobody can find any word. And to ask them to prove that, show some opinion. Before.
You hear that? Abza Yusuf is telling you, challenge Beck, the pagan, and his gay blade partner, Sonny Queerbait, to give you proof that prior to Ibn Taymiyyah, anyone prior to Ibn Taymiyyah, who comes 600-700 years after Muhammad's death, that said you cannot invoke Muhammad to pray for you.
Or Ibn Taymiyyah that counters that. There's none.
None.
And that's the opinion of Imam al-Bayhaqi, all these great ulama. I mean, they all have it in their books. And so it's just very strange, but it's become a dominant opinion because of the books and all the money that has enabled the madhab to spread like that. But
guess who he's taking a shot at? Saudi Arabia, because they subscribe to the Salafi Aqidah and they reject this. They're pumping petroleum dollars all over the world to teach Muslims this version of Islam. See that?
But it's not the dominant opinion of the scholars of Islam by any
means.
standard.
Not the dominant opinion.
So it's a khilaf. They don't accept our khilaf. We accept their khilaf. What can I say?
You're saying, look, khilaf means it's an issue you can disagree, agree to disagree. They don't accept our, opinion. We accept theirs. It's okay. If you don't want to pray, you don't have to. Listen to this.
If you don't want to do it, that's fine. It's jaiz. It's not wajib. It's just permissible.
Jaiz means permissible. Wajib means not mandatory. Isn't that what I heard a Catholic saying that, right? To someone saying, it's not mandatory that you ask Mary to pray for you, the saints, right? You don't want to do it. Don't condemn it, right? Don't condemn it. But if you're a Catholic, part of your prayers are going to include the invocation of the Holy Mother and others. So that you got to do, but in your own private time, right? I heard a Catholic saying that to someone on a live stream. Right? But anyway, let's continue.
When I asked Murat al-Hajj, my own teacher, about it, he said jaiz.
Permissible.
You want to do it? Fine. You don't want to do it? Fine. Just don't tell people you can't do it.
See?
If they want to do it, don't tell people you can't do it because you don't have any proof. And the proofs that they use have been refuted.
You hear it? Music to your ears. Save this link. Their arguments have been refuted by the scholars. They're wrong. You can ask dead Muhammad, who's under the feet of Jesus Christ, to intercede for you. You guys listening? And he's not the only one.
Very profoundly by the scholars. I mean, it's not وَمَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ إِلَّا لِيُقَرِّبُونَ إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفَى, saying that they used to call on stones.
and yet your prophet kissed the stone, touched the stone, wept over a stone that will absorb your sin, and then will be given eyes and a tongue on the day of judgment and intercede for you? Yeah, your prophet did, and you guys do it. So what he's saying is that the Salafis say, wait, you're no different than the pagans. They say that we only worship them in order to bring us closer to Allah. He's saying, I don't worship the prophet. This guy's delusional. What do you mean you don't worship the prophet? Your prophet said, ad-dua, invocation, huwa al-ibadah, is worship. What do you mean you don't worship the prophet? So the Salafis are right. They're worshiping. But the Salafis are wrong that this is not part of Islam.
And those stones, they did it to draw near to Allah. And then they said, na'buduhum. Who worships the prophet? I don't worship the prophet.
You better believe you do. Because you can't be Muslim without mentioning there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. You cannot be Muslim if you don't pray for him often and daily, and your prayer will not be accepted if you don't pray for him in your prayers. You cannot be a Muslim if you don't say in your prayers 5 times a day, peace be upon you, O Prophet. You cannot be a Muslim if you forbid what he forbids and only accept what he accepts. You cannot be a Muslim without this man. He is your God, because it's not Allah, it is him. That's why you'll find even in mosque, they'll put the name of Allah and Muhammad side by side on the same level. La ilaha illallah or La shaitan illallah, Muhammad Rasul shaitan. What are you talking about? Who are you deceiving, bro? What you talking about, Willith?
And to say that, well, you're asking him to ask God. Well, I ask Sidi Abdul Hadi to ask God. Abdul Hadi, make dua for me, please.
Look at us here.
Jazakallah khairan. He just made dua. What, is that shirk? So you say, well, the prophet's dead. Not in my belief.
That's exactly the same arguments that Protestants use against us, right, Lepanto folks? Don't the Protestants use the same arguments that the Salafis do? And isn't it ironic these Sunnis and Shias sound like Catholics and Orthodox? I ask you to pray for me. Is that worship? Yeah, but they're dead. Who told you they're dead? The same objections and the same refutations. You see how Satan mimics the truth of Christianity? It is true. Saints are alive, perfected, and they pray for us. It is true. You can ask them to pray for you. It is true. The Lord makes them aware of your request that they pray for you. Right? This is all true. But it is a lie that Muhammad is a prophet, his companions are righteous, and that their God, Allah, is the true God. So when you're praying, you're not praying to these people because they're under the feet of Christ. They are under the wrath of Jesus. Muhammad is under his feet. He will be destroyed with everlasting destruction. So you're now praying to demons and opening up yourself to demons. You see?
That's your belief, that's fine. In my belief, he's hayyun fi qabrihi. In my belief, if I say Assalamu alaikum in the Sahih Hadith, an angel tells him, Hamza Yusuf just said Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah, and he says to me, Hamza Yusuf, wa alaikum assalam.
I just gave you the receipts, right? Everything they're telling you in the posts, you have the information free. You don't need to find it. Study the material, distribute the material, educate all non-Muslims, all Christians, share with Muslims. See, everything I got in the posts.
What is wa alaikum assalam if it's not dua? It's a dua, peace be upon you. So we know the Prophet makes dua for us. So if I want to ask him to make dua for me, that's fine. Don't tell me it's shirk. I don't worship the Prophet.
Yes, you do. Remember, guys, please don't let the Protestants say we're being dishonest. I did a session. Intercession of saints versus, right, invocation of Muhammad. I have a session on it because I got sick of people. See, Sam, you change your... I hate it when people accuse me of changing my position as if I haven't thought through these issues. And I pray the Spirit purges me of all error, all blasphemy, all sin. Perfect my theology and my holiness to love Jesus. All of us. Pray that for all of you. The difference, and I'm going to remind you, Muhammad said, supplicating, invoking is worship. So when you, Hamza Yusuf, supplicate Muhammad, invoke Muhammad, according to him, you are worshiping him, not according to the Bible or Christianity. You do worship him.
You know, I can take penicillin. I don't have to just sit and die of some infectious disease because it's shirk, brother. God's the Shafi.
He's making fun of them. He's saying, look, we know God is the source of all good, all perfection, all beauty, all love. Yeah, the true God, the triune God, and all healing. What is his point is a biblical one. You see, again, Satan steals God's truth. All truth belongs to God. Which God? The one God revealed in our Lord Jesus Christ. His revelation is the Holy Bible preserved by his church, not Allah. Satan will take the truth of God, pervert it, mix it in with falsehood to deceive you. What he's saying here is true. God is the source of all healing, but it is God who created the plants, the herbs, the leaves with healing potencies, the vitamins, right? This is all from the creation that God made and endowed with these abilities for man to discover, to use, to heal. So penicillin only heals me because God created penicillin, my lisp, created penicillin with its healing potencies. If God had endowed these herbs, these plants, the fruits, the vegetables, the leaves with these minerals, vitamins, these potencies, nothing could do anything for you. So that's what he's saying. So when I take penicillin, it's because that is one of the means that God in his mercy gave to make my pain less and make it easier to cope with. So am I sinning when I take penicillin? No. I am enjoying and benefiting from the favors of God to heal me. So if God made Mary a means of access to God, and Mary, our queen, and the saints, the prophets and the apostles and the angels, a means by which we can seek them to seek God for us, then that's part of God's blessings. See what he's saying?
Just go straight to God. Why are you going to the penicillin?
He's making fun.
Because God put means in the world to get his blessing.
Doesn't that sound like us when they say, why do you ask Mary? Just go to God directly. Why do you ask your pastor or your neighbors or Christians to pray for you? Same arguments, same responses for a different religion.
Healing's a blessing, but if he made penicillin a means to that blessing, so be it. And if he made the Prophet ﷺ a means to that blessing, alhamdulillah.
See? See that?
Yeah, but those are actions. Those are things. People forget that tawassul is a fiqh question. It's not an aqidah question. It's not a belief, it's an action.
Yep.
That's why it's dealt with in Hajj. It's dealt with in Bab al-Hajj. It's not.
He's saying that these Salafis made invocation, intercession of the Muslims who have died, like Muhammad, an issue of faith. That if you ask Muhammad, you are now committing shirk. You're outside the fold of Islam. And he says, this tawassul practice was never included under category of aqidah, faith. It was your deeds, something you do. But they made it something about faith in order to pronounce you a disbeliever. Once they do that, they can murder you.
Not dealt with in the books of aqidah. It's actually dealt with in the books of fiqh. It's just some people have turned it into an aqidah question.
Aqidah.
But it's not. It's a question of action. It's a question of action.
There you go. You see it? Horse's mouth, right?
Is that clear?
Is that clear? Yeah. It's clear that you are pagans, you're Mohammedans, you worship a dead man who's under feet of Jesus Christ, an antichrist, who makes mustache man look humble, immoral, deviant, that you guys also commit idolatry when you kiss a black stone. So Beck, time for you to retire. Go back talking about whatever garbage you talk about. Religion's not for you because you're going to get buried. And here, I know you're watching. Tell Sonny, Queerbait, join you and come and try to refute me. I will end your careers as Jesus ended Muhammad's life, because my God is alive. He's almighty. His name is Jesus. Your God doesn't exist. And Muhammad is under the feet of Jesus. Live with it. It's a fact. Okay, now there you go. Now let's go into Beck's God being a youth. You ready for that? Beck's God being a youth. And then maybe we still have time. Let me know if Avery's going live in about half an hour. Okay. You keep praying for me, guys, to be bold, uncompromising, politically incorrect, holy and pure and righteous, not fall in scandal. The Lord save me from my flesh, from Jezebel's, protect my daughters, provide for us, and I raise them in love of the Lord. And I'll keep doing this till I die. And a new policy. I'm not going to try to appease and kiss up to any of these apologists anymore. I'm done. I'm done. None of these lowlives humble themselves. They double down because they're lowlives. They're arrogant. And you see the fruit. Now, David Wood, Jai Apologetics, and Daughter Christ, and they're a beautiful couple. Jai Apologetics, Daughter Christ, I can't say anything bad about them. May the Lord preserve them and Avery and Chris Claus, and they stay humble and teachable. Now they turn against Jay Smith, and Jay Smith turn against them. Now you see the fruit of David Wood's ministry. Apostate prophet, you see? Walking away from his wife. This is the fruit of people who make it their life to just destroy Islam, or let's say atheism in case they would, but have not spent a scintilla of time studying the roots of the Christian faith, what the core doctrines are, why we should believe them, how to demonstrate from Scripture, what the early church teach, and grow in them. Yeah, you was Anjay, you didn't hear it? He already left. He separated. Yes, we'll put you in right here. We'll put you in the Shia brothel in Iran where your mother is running it. Thank you, Lepanto. I need it, brother. All right. So, Lord bless our numbers. You'll find the articles in the description box. Now, let's see. Beck, your God is a young boy, or at least a teenager, who doesn't even follow Sunnah. He doesn't have a beard. But that's Sunnah, brother. And then, Lord willing, we'll be getting into the segments of jizya and jihad that this ignoramus butchered. But again, IP is not that well-versed in Islam. Look, IP is great in destroying the so-called pagan roots of Christianity, the dying, rising God, and the so-called pagan roots of Christmas. He's done a lot of great work. But the more I'm watching him, the more I see he does more damage than good. See, there's a balance. Sometimes you have people doing so much great stuff, it outweighs the damage they do or the mistakes they make in theology. I don't know about this guy. He's learning about Islam, but he's not that sharp about Islam. Maybe he'll change in time. But the problem is he's going to introduce Muslims to theistic evolution and butcher Genesis, claim that you don't have to hold that it's straight up history, but it can be mythohistory, because he worships at the altar of William Lane Craig and scholars. So that's why it's always scholars and scholars and scholars and scholars, right? A lot of mistakes in other areas. His defense of the Trinity is not the best, right? Because he keeps parroting scholars, but doesn't go and dissect information and seek the Spirit to then elevate him. So the more I'm watching him, the more I see the errors are starting to outnumber the good he does. Great in destroying the pagan roots of Christianity. Dying, rising God myth like Mithra or Osiris. Great at destroying Christians being pagan. But when it comes to origins, Genesis, creation, sucks. When it comes to defending the Trinity against anti-Trinitarians, not that good. And the thing that I dislike the most, when talking about his denomination, he goes, I don't share that, I keep it private. Cowardly. Cowardice. And on top of that, if he can't refute you, he will then try to demonize you by bringing people to slander your character like he did with Ken Hovind. Something I've resented, and until he asks for forgiveness and remove it, I'll keep mentioning it. What do I mean? Here it is. So don't think I'm lying, okay? Because I know you guys think I'm a liar. I don't blame you, okay? Let's see where it is. Should be right here, right? Yep, right here. Okay, let's go here. Why would you do that? Now, one of Ken Hovind's ex-wife went on atheist channels to slander him. Here, watch here. And I watched it. Very disgusted. And I had told Donnie a while back. You see what he did? Okay. Right here. Ken Hovind's ex-wives tell all. You believe it? Guy? Because Ken Hovind called him out for his butchering of the Bible and science and challenging the debate. Instead of just taking him on, he went the route of slander 3 years ago. 112,000 views. And you see my comment? Why would you have Hovind's ex-wives, that's a year ago, see? On here without bringing Hovind on to defend and explain his side of the story. See, I called him out a year ago. You see it? See my comment? Now it's visible to me. I don't know if it's will be visible to you. Maybe I see it, but it's probably removed. You see it? Now, Cindy Lincoln, let me show you who she is. She went on atheist channels as a Christian to bash Kent Hovind. This woman right here, you see her? Why do you think he did this? Yeah. Why do you think he did this? Why all of a sudden bring on his wives? Because Ken Hovind was owning him when it comes to science and Genesis. Like Donnie will own him. That's why they challenge him to debate. Now let me show you who this is. Atheist channel. This one right here, this woman. You click on her name, put on atheist channel, and you'll see she's invited by atheists who hate the faith, to bash the faith, to come and attack Ken Hovind, who's destroying their atheism and their worldview. See? Why? Now, how credible do you think she is? If she loved the Lord and feared the Lord and honored Jesus Christ, you don't go on atheist channel. You want to go on Christian channels? Okay. Why do you go on atheist channels? And I'm no saint, by the way, Mlanga. I have my own demons to slay, but pray God will keep me pure and not hand me over. Why would you do this? So how credible is she when she's on a jihad, a vendetta to discredit him? And glory to Jesus, Hovind is exploding. The slanderers didn't do anything. And she disappeared. Now, the problem with Hovind, I'll tell you what the problem is. Let me just take a minute and explain. As an evangelical Christian who doesn't believe marriage is sacramental, doesn't follow an apostolic tradition, he's now married 4 times. This is the fruit of sola scriptura, tota scriptura. What do I mean? You cannot condemn him if you're going to use sola scriptura, tota scriptura, because among Protestants, they can't agree whether you can marry a second time if you're divorced validly or whether you can't. There are Protestants who say one marriage and you're stuck. Even if your spouse cheats and marries someone else, you can't remarry. Okay? Can't remarry. Others say, no, you can marry more than once for valid reasons. And then they'll tell you what the valid reasons are. This is Protestantism, folks. This is Protestantism. Right? So, biblically speaking, sola scriptura, tota scriptura, how can you refute him? So, you hold them accountable to his standard. Remember, I held Muhammad accountable to Muhammad's standard? Supplication is worship. So, when you supplicate Muhammad, you're worshiping. He doesn't believe in what the Catholic Church teaches or the Orthodox, right? They allow up to 3 valid marriages. See, even there, first one is sacrament, the other 2 are not. They're lesser, right? Marriages, but they're still valid nonetheless. So you can take the sacraments. Catholic Church is the strictest in the sense that if it's a valid sacramental marriage, it will be nearly impossible to get it annulled if there's a divorce. Right? Are you with me there? Okay, now, if people have a problem with him as a Baptist preacher on wife number 4, then guys, let me let the cat out of the bag. See, this is why you come here, right? You want the Spirit to work through me, I pray. He owns me, owns you. I am his. I belong to him, in spite of my imperfections. And he guides the conversation, so I don't be politically correct. But to remove the beams in my own eyes, rein me in, this is my prayer from my heart. That I fear the Lord that he doesn't give me what I deserve. So while you're here, who is considered one of the greatest Protestant apologists and scholars of the 20th century, the late Walter Martin. Why is he famous and you will know about him? He started the Bible Answer Man, taken over by Hank Hanegraaff. Hank Hanegraaff used to work for Walter Martin. And by the way, Perry Robinson, who became Eastern Orthodox, he too was part of the Bible Answer Man. He worked with Walter Martin, from what I remember recalling what he said. He also knew Hank Hanegraaff, and he's one of Hank Hanegraaff's most vociferous opponent. He doesn't care too much for Hank Hanegraaff, and he thinks that his conversion to Greek Orthodox Church, right, that in light of all the scams, all the lies, all the scandals surrounding Hank Hanegraaff, he's one of his harshest critics even now, though he became Greek Orthodox. Perry Robinson, put in Perry Robinson, energetic procession, Eastern Orthodox. He was here, who did a 5-hour burial, annihilation, cremation of Anthony Rogers and his fake gospel, decreed by Anthony Rogers' God. It's on my channel. Go watch it. So he is an opponent of Hank Hanegraaff, and he exposes the shady tactics of Hank Hanegraaff, where he monopolized to take over Bible Answer Man. Now, why is there a controversy? Walter Martin, in fact, Walter Martin used to appear on the John Ankerberg show. He debated Father Mitchell Pacwa, Father Mitchell Pacwa, right, on Catholicism. Those were the debates that led to Timothy Staples leaving Pentecostalism and considering the Catholic faith. If you've heard Timothy Staples, he used to love Walter Martin. His faith was in a crisis because he was hearing these arguments for the Catholics sounded good. He was hoping that Father Mitchell Pacwa would be crushed by Walter Martin. He was dismayed and shaken even worse when he saw Father Mitchell Pacwa, in his view, school Walter Martin. Now, why am I mentioning this here? Walter Martin Pacwa. Part of Timothy Staples' testimony is that this debate shook him even worse and sent him into the Catholic Church. Timothy Staples, Walter Martin Pacwa. You can still watch it here. When I watched it, because maybe I didn't know much, I wasn't educated, I thought Walter Martin flattened him. See, right here. There it is, young Father Mitchell Pacwa, and there is Walter Martin. Let me show you what Walter Martin looks like. Here's young Father Mitchell Pacwa. Now that's Walter Martin. Here's a young, handsome Father Mitchell Pacwa. Let's see his face. Yeah. It confirms that Lucifer is your father, and you are a whore, and your mother is a whore of Satan. Okay? So everyone got it here? So far, you're trucking with me? Why am I belaboring the point and torturing you? Because if you're going to condemn Kent Hovind, Walter Martin was married 3 times. Walter Martin divorced twice and had 3 wives in his lifetime. But do you hear a peep of criticism? Do you hear a peep of criticism? Three marriages, married 3 times, 3 different women. Peep of criticism? He's still hailed as one of the greatest apologists and scholars of the 20th century. And did that stop John Ankerberg from featuring him? No. Because he had different children from different wives, his daughters also went at it. Why? Because when Walter Martin died, Hank Hanegraaff claimed that Walter Martin handed him the ministry. So one of his daughters supports Hank Hanegraaff. Another daughter says, that's a lie. My father never gave him the Bible Answer Man show. You see? Sister, do you want to torture my partner to be? That's God's will if it's going to happen. God's will if it's going to happen. I have 2 daughters. They want me to get married. This young lady has a daughter. She's too young. So bar a miracle from God, she's going to have to wait. And hopefully I won't be too old. If so, may God release her and protect her from me. All right? Okay, everyone got this now? You see where I'm going with this, right? Shogun, she's a regular, brother. She's a regular. I know you're trigger happy. You're more angry than me, and you want to punish the world for your anger. But she's a regular. She means well. She means well. Just take it easy, man. Take it easy. My daughters are my priority right now after the Lord, and they don't want to see their Baba get married. So I don't want to break their heart. So God's will be done. Take it easy. Okay, now, what's my point? If you're going to condemn Ken Hovind as someone who believes sola scriptura, tota scriptura, then burn Walter Martin's books, erase his videos, and condemn him. Right? Because he's married 3 times and he has children from different wives, even the sisters from different mothers go at it. There are some of Walter Martin's daughters that say, no, our father gave Hank Hanegraaff the ministry. Others say, no, he didn't. Till this day. Till this day. Okay, you with me there? So my point in bringing this up is, why did he bring them on? And why does he still have it on? Because he can't refute Kent Hovind. He can't refute Donnie. He can't refute Matt Powell. He can't refute Standing for Truth. He can't refute the arguments, so they'll pulverize, bury him in science and the Bible, because theistic evolution is a perversion of Scripture. So what does he do? Go the route of slander. And you wonder why I'm a harsh critic of his? This is the same guy who said, we're not part of the Dawa gang, where we cover up for our boys, when he harshly criticized, mockingly criticized Cameron for doing a video sharing the views of an Egyptologist that made some very outstanding claims that need substantiation. Yes, you are a whore. You're worse than a whore, brother. Yannick. You're a whore. Your mother's the whore of Babylon. Revelation 17. You are one of the sons of the whore of Babylon. Your mother is the whore of Babylon. You are a whore, and your father's the devil. You're a bastard. So now get the hell out of here for appealing to sympathy, you arrogant, spiritual bastard, son of the whore of Babylon. You don't ask me a question not related topic, you narcissistic scum. Go to Mike Winger or go to IP and then start attacking me. You arrogant, spiritual scum. I ask you a question because I want to shut up with your fake appeal. All right, now, with that said, let's now get into Beck's God is a youth. Beck's God is a youth. He doesn't have a beard, but he's got curly hair. Uh-oh. See what the Muslims are doing now? They're now trying to flag Christian YouTube channels, get them copyright strikes in order to get them deleted. See these bastards, son of Satan? You call me, yeah. No, you're worse than a whore. You're a spiritual whore. And your mother's the whore of Babylon. Not the mother gave you birth, because she regrets it. But God have mercy on you and me. The Lord convict you. Okay, here we go. Let's go back. Ready? Joe, you ready? Can you handle the heat? Political incorrectness? Let's go now. I asked you about Isaiah 14, about Lucifer, my father, because my mother's the whore of Babylon, his wife, if he had flesh and blood, because I'm flesh and blood and I'm a seed and I'm a bastard. Shut up, man, you feminine fake. Come here and ask the wrong question in the channel that has nothing to do with it, and you're wondering why I'm cussing you out. Sam, please, Sam, be Jesus to me, Sam, be Jesus to me. Right? You ready? Really? When? It's suspended now? For how long? Wait, he can't do live streams? That only confirms what I told Avery. Time to now change your focus. If you're building your entire ministry on spiritual UFC, bloodbaths, you're going to wear out and you're just going to attract bloodthirsty maniacs, not people who want to learn sound theology. And may God keep us humble and teachable. When we see 2,000, 3,000 people, because of that number, it becomes tempting to continue this path. But it's waste, my brothers. Let me encourage you. There's a time and place to call out people. There is a time and place. You got to call them out. But you can't make your entire livelihood ministry on just doing challenges to appease the filthy, wicked, sinful, carnal flesh of those who are just there to see people get bashed. You with me there? You got to change gears, brothers. All right. Now, does Beck's God appear as a youth? You ready? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Right here, Mishkat. Mishkat, right here. The receipts, the links are in the description box. All right. On his channel, it's been suspended, right? Okay, Beck, bring your boy toy. Sonny, put me in my place. Here you go. Muad bin Jabal said, God's messenger was detained one morning from observing the prayer with us till the sun had almost appeared over the horizon. He then came out quickly. Now, the typo's not on my part, it's on their part. And when the iqamah had been uttered, he conducted the prayer in a shortened form. Then when he had given the salutation, he called out to us, saying, keep to your rows as you were. Now watch. Then turning to us, he said, I shall tell you what detained me from you this morning. I got up during the night, performed ablution, and prayed what I could. But during my prayer, I dozed and was overcome. And then I saw my Lord in the most beautiful form. My Lord in the most beautiful form. What's up, my dude, my guy, Mr. Anna? All right. He addressed me by name, and when I replied, at thy service, my Lord. He asked, what do the angels near my presence dispute about? And I replied that I do not know. Now watch. Muhammad's Lord has a body, has a shape, has hands, has fingers that he can touch you with. He asked it 3 times, and I saw him put the palm of his hand between my shoulder blades, so I experienced the coolness of his fingers between my nipples. So that one touch got Muhammad's nipples hard. You getting it, guys? Mraga, make Rumble great again? Are you sure? It says he's going live tonight, but is he going on God Logic 2.0? 2.0, glory to Lord God? Fact check. There you go, right here. You think I'm lying? Then I saw him put the palm of his hand between my shoulder blades so that I experienced the coolness of his fingers between my nipples. His hand was very cold to the touch. Once he touched me, I felt the tingling sensation in my nipples and made my nipples hard. Yeah, baby. Right? Now, is this da'if or is this sahih? Does it pass? Is it sound? Da'if, brother? All right. So then when he touched him, everything became clear. I don't need to read all of it. Ahmed Tirmidhi transmitted it. Tirmidhi said this is a Hassan Sahih tradition. I asked Muhammad bin Ismail, that's Al-Bukhari. Bukhari, is it sound? About this, and he said it is a Sahih tradition. So this dude's God appears as a youth. Here it is. See? Muhammad bin Ismail Bukhari. Sahih. Lord willing, in 2 more sessions, I'll be done with this guy. We'll go back to refuting Bart Ehrman, go back to Trinity, go back to salvation. A lot more to talk about, and pray we now focus ahead and forget these guys and their cliques. All right. This is also reported where? In Tirmidhi. Now, sadly, or no, I guess no, I have it here. Good. Let's see. Yep, Jami Tirmidhi, here it is. I actually found the one on sunnah.com. Same narration. Let's see. Then I saw my Lord, blessed and most high, in the best of appearances. He said, "O Muhammad." I said, "My Lord, here I am, my Lord." He said, "What is it that the most exalted group busy themselves with? What do they do in heaven?" So I saw him place his palm between my shoulders, and I sensed the coolness of his fingertips between my breath. Ooh, Allah, you're cold to the touch. You just made my nipples hard, Ollie. Can I call you Ollie? Or Lordy, Lordy, Lordy? Okay. Sahih, right? Okay. Now, let's go here. I saw my Lord in the most beautiful form, like a youth, with abundant hair. Al-Daraqutni Kitab al-Ru'ya, and here it is, 332, 333. And you'll find also on page 356, 357. And similar reports from al-Tufail, Anas bin Malik, Muhammad's companion, Muhammad bin Afra, Ibn Umar, Muhammad's companion, son of Umar, Aisha, his child bride, Ibn Abbas, his first cousin, reported by Tabarani, Ibn Abi Asim, Al-Bayhaqi, Al-Sayuti, Al-Haythami, Ibn Adi, Al-Baghdadi. These are the creme de la creme of Islam. Muhammad's companions, their followers, and some of the greatest hadith scholars. Oh, but this one is nice too. I saw my Lord, Lordy, 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 Lordy. I saw my Lord in the form of a young man, beardless, with short curly hair. Amrad. Now, you know that means Allah doesn't follow the Sunnah. Did you know that, Beck? Your fake God doesn't follow the Sunnah. Because the Sunnah is to have the beard. Your Allah decided to go against the Sunnah. I wonder why. Right? I wonder why. Why does he appear without a beard? Is it because maybe he wants you to also be confused about his gender? Maybe he's transgendered, because I showed you in one of my sessions, Allah wears a hijab. Did you know that? The Quran says Allah is like a woman. Why? Because he puts on a hijab, a head covering like women do. I'm not Bree. I guess you missed that session I did. I'll show it to you again. So he may be gender confused or gender fluidity. He may look like a man, but he's really a hermaphrodite. No, I'm not lying. But then we got a problem because it says he has testicles. He's got gonads. Alistair, where you been, man? I did a session on this 2 weeks ago. Do you watch all the sessions and the material? I'll show it to you. Now, is this authentic? Narrated by Ahmed bin Hanbal and Tabarani. Authenticated by Ahmed bin Hanbal. He better not tell you this is weak. In Creed 3 citing Isnad, Abdul Samad bin Yahya and Tabaqat al-Hanabila, right? Volume 1, page 218. Al-Marudhi and Tabaqat, again, volume 3, page 81. And Ibn Aqil and Maqdisi, right? Ibn Aqil, 130. Ibn Adi al-Qatan, al-Kamil fi Duwaffa al-Rijal. Again, volume 3, 40. It's look, authentic. Daraqutni, Kitab al-Ru'ya, al-Tabarani, al-Mujam al-Kabir, Sahih. Don't let him lie to you, please. By Abul Hassan bin Bashar and Ibn Abi Yala Tabaqat, volume 2, page 59. Abu Yala al-Mutammid, even accepted by Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah accepted this in Bayan Tablis al-Jahmiyyah, volume 7, pages 190 to 198 and 290. And again, what does Ahmad ibn Hanbal say? Over here, he said it. Authenticated, right? But look what he says here. Ahmed bin Hanbal said about the above hadith, report it because the ulama have reported it. Report it. Don't be ashamed. Abdul Samad bin Yahya reported in Tabaqat al-Hanabila, volume 1 to 18. What do you make? I'm making the beauties, man. Making beauties. And then I give you another one that says, the Prophet saw Allah before death, as is in the doctrine of the majority of Ahl al-Sunnah. Right? Thus related from Al-Nawawi by Al-Qari. The evidence of this is the hadith of Ibn Abbas, whereby the Prophet said, I saw my Lord, which I just narrated. Ibn Kathir cited it in his commentary in Surah An-Najm and declared it changed sound, but considered part of the hadith of the dream cited below. Ibn Qayyim relates that Imam Ahmed considered such sight to be in the Prophet's sleep, but remains a true sight, as the true dreams of the Prophets are true. Now watch again. Al-Bayhaqi also narrated the hadith, I saw my Lord in Asma was Sifat with a sound chain, but with addition, in the form of curly-haired, beardless young man wearing a green robe. A condemned this authenticated edition and concatenation with another hadith that refers to Jibreel. So now he's trying to say this is disconnected, it's not authentic, because Jibreel, Fuad Haddad, is not a Salafi anthropomorphist and doesn't believe that Allah has a body of some kind. Sucks being you, buddy, because it was authenticated by others. Here, sucks being you, because he doesn't want it to be authentic. But buddy, I saw my Lord in the form of a young man, beardless with short curly hair, authenticated. Ahmed bin Hanbal, sucks being you. Ibn Taymiyyah accepts it because he believes Allah has a body, but they don't call it a body because he's some grotesque monster. You got it? So there you go. Now, do you guys want me to show you that Allah has nuts, gonads, testicles, and that Allah wears a veil? Do you want me to continue on this theme? And then we'll wrap it up for part 5. You guys ready for that? The Shia reject this, by the way, sister. And like Jibril Fuad Haddad, who's not a Salafi, he's a Sufi, who's an Ash'ari Maturidi, he doesn't accept this either. He tries to explain it away and try to falsify it. Right? You want me to show you again what I did a week ago? All right, let me show you that Allah has testicles. I'm not lying. He has testicles right here. The articles are there. You ready? You think I'm lying, huh? You son of whiskers. And did you know that Allah has a consort, a female attached to the throne? A rahim, a womb, a walking, talking womb that was there before Allah created humans, and yanked on his nuts, yanked on his testicles, making Allah shout, stop it. And this womb is now attached to Allah's throne. Did you guys know this? You should, because I discussed it over a week ago. You should, because I discussed this over a week ago. Here's the article, right here. All right. Here it is. It's in the description box. It's all there, guys. So are you going to use it now to show Christians why they should never become Muslims and that Muhammad is worse than Mustache Man, and show Muslims the foolishness, futility, stupidity of their religion until they repent? But your life is not characterized just by doing polemics. Your ministry can't just be about polemics. Your ministry is to convert people, meet them where they're at, meet their needs, whether if they need money or clothing or love and affirmation, show them the beauty of Jesus, not just bashing Islam or Jehovah's Witnesses, and living out the faith. Pray we do that, and I do that. That's why 90% of the time I'm not focused on this. But there are times in which I have to bring these issues up. Okay, here you go. Allah has loins. It's in the article. All right. Abu Hurairah reported Allah's Prophet is saying that when Allah had finished creating all things, ties of relationship, that's the womb, arose and seized the loins of the compassionate one, yanked his loins. He said, stop! And they said, this is the place for him who seeks refuge in thee from being cut off. He replied, are you not satisfied that I should keep connection with him who keeps you united and sever connection with him who severs you? They said, certainly, O Lord. He replied, well, that is how things are. Abu Hurairah said, recite if you wish. Then is it, this is chapter 47, 22. This is based on this verse of the Quran, and I'll get there. Except if you were put in authority, that you will do mischief in the land and break your ties of kith and kin. So he's talking to this womb that yanked his nuts. Haqwa. Okay? And Allah even covers his testicles, his nuts, by wearing a loincloth, a waist sheet, an izar. So you don't see them dangling. All right? This is the divine traditions, al-Hadith, al-Qudsiyya, rendered English by Dr. Ibrahim al-Saliq, chapter 12, the Lord of Glory, speech to the womb. See? Pages 80, 82. Here's another one. Libnat Holtzman, Anthropomorphism Islam, the challenge of traditionalism. Right? Page 209, citing Sahih Bukhari. Al-Bukhari al-Jami. Volume 3, page 292. Kitab al-Tafsir, Bab wal-Tuqattiyu ar-Rahmakum. Cutting ties with relations. For the sentence, I stay close with the person who makes you close to him and be detached from the person who detaches himself for you. Okay? Here. Abu Hurairah narrated on the authority of the Prophet, when God had completed the creation, the Rahim, that's the womb. Look, you believe Islam teaches there's a walking, talking womb, an actual womb that was there, the primordial womb, there with Allah, there alongside Allah, and seized his testicles. Seized his testicles. Right there, guys. That's right. And we can all thop it. Abu Hurairah, on the authority of the Prophet, when God had completed the creation, the Rahim stood up and seized the loin of the merciful. Haqwa, right there, Rahman. He said to her, stop it. Now, why did she do that? Because she wanted to get Allah's attention, saying, look, are you going to vindicate me and defend me anytime people break ties with their relatives? The point of the hadith is this. We are related because of the womb. Now, understand the logic of Muhammad. I need you to listen to the logic, okay? According to Muhammad, we are related because of the womb. Our mother's wombs make us related. So if I come out of my mother's womb, I'm now immediately related to everyone related to my mother. So here, Muhammad said there was an original womb that told Allah, what will you do to all the people who break relations with their relatives, relationships that were based on their coming out of the same womb or coming out of a womb that related him to others? You understand what he's talking about? He's talking about, what are you going to do to people who break ties with their relatives? Well, how do we become relatives? Because of the womb. If I come out of this womb, right, and you come out of that same womb, we're related. Or if I come out of a womb, I'm then related to everyone else related to her, right? You see the logic of Muhammad? So then the original womb is defending all wombs. The original womb is defending her honor and the honor of all other wombs that will come into existence after her. Are you going to fight for us, Allah? See the logic? I want to see if you understand the logic of this saying. You guys got it or you didn't get it? This is the mind of Muhammad. That there's a womb demanding the rights of all other wombs that Allah fight for the rights of the wombs, starting with her, that if anyone breaks ties with relationships forged by wombs, Allah will deal with them. We got it, guys? You understand it, right? Okay. Stop it! Not so hard. All right, now, where is this womb right now? Where is this womb right now? Sahih Bukhari, Volume 6, Book 60, number 354. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, Allah created his creation. When he finished it, the womb got up and caught hold of Allah, yanked his nuts. Now, I want to ask a question. How did the womb yank his testicles? How does a womb talk? How does the womb stand up? How does the womb reach out? It means that this womb must have hands and feet and eyes and a mouth. Now, here is the translation of Tafsir Ibn Kathir by Darus Salam, based on chapter 47:22 of the Quran. Now, watch this. Watch this. Okay. Al-Bukhari again from Abu Hurairah. You guys on Rumble, you saying this? Yep. Japan could have used them to write the enemies. After Allah completed creating the creation, the womb stood up and pulled at the lower garment of the most merciful. There are traditions say Allah wears an izar. That's a waist sheet. He said, stop that. It replied, my stand here is the stand of one seeking refuge in you from severance of ties. If anyone breaks ties with their relatives, are you going to defend me, Allah? Allah said, would it not please you that I join whoever joins you and sever whoever severs you? It replied, yes, indeed. Actually, if you read Arabic, she replied, indeed, you'd make me happy. He said, you are granted that. Now watch. Where's the womb right now? Verily, the womb is attached to the throne. Wait, right now in Jannah or above Jannah, Allah's throne has a womb attached to it, a talking womb, a womb that has hands and feet, obviously eyes and a mouth because it can speak and touch and feel. And the womb is female. So Allah has a consort, does have a girlfriend, because this girlfriend is attached to his throne. And connecting its ties does not mean dealing evenly with the kinsfolk, rather means that if one's kinsfolk sever ties, he connects them. This hadith was also recorded by Al-Bukhari. Ahmad also recorded from Abdullah ibn Amr that Allah's messenger said, the womb will be placed on the day of resurrection, curved like a spinning wheel, speaking with an eloquent, fluent tongue. So it speaks eloquently, calling to severing whoever had severed it, joining whoever had joined it. This is what Beck joined. This is what he became. Beck, you pagan idiot. You followed this religion over Jesus, Muhammad's God and destroyer, this filthy, immoral, sick religion. That's why the Lord's going to humiliate you. Keep barking against Jesus, and God will use people like me to silence you. Now, this is old stuff. I just did a session on this over a week ago. I'll see which video it was. Okay, you want to see Allah wearing a veil? By the way, Allah will uncover his shin, Sahih Bukhari, Volume 9, Book 19, number 532. And the shin is how the Muslims will recognize him. And Allah puts his foot over hell to stop hell from wanting more. Sahih Bukhari, Volume 6, number 37. I've done a lot of sessions on this till Allah puts his foot over it. I even wrote an article. Allah loves the ummah that he sacrificed his foot for them. For Allah so loved the ummah that he gave up his foot by putting his foot in hell to suffer and be tortured to save Muslims. Allah supposedly has two right hands. But let me go to Allah Let me see if I link to it here. Allah's hijab. Do you want to see now Allah wears a veil like a woman? Allah wears a veil like a woman. And then, Lord willing, we'll continue in part 5, because I think this was enough of a barbecue for this guy, right? Let's see. Because he's going to talk about jizya, and then we're going to have fun at his prophet's expense with jizya. Here, my title, exalted. Look at what the title is. Allah, an exalted woman. Why do I say that? Let me now on larger screen give you the article. Allah, an exalted woman. Why? Why do I say that? Because it says he puts on a hijab. Hijab means a veil, right? Women wear hijab, they veil. Allah, an exalted woman. So what is Allah's veil? What does he veil himself with? His light. Last time I checked, in Islam, it's only women that veil, right? Women have a hijab. Am I right? Or maybe I'm not as educated as Beck on Islam. Maybe I've got to go to ask Chat GPT. All right? So here you'll see, they draw their cloaks, veils over their bodies. Chapter 3, verse 59 of the Quran. And then I give you the commentators what it means. Jilbab, to put on a jilbab. And let them draw their veils over their bosoms. All right? Based on what? 33:59 of the Quran. They are supposed to veil themselves. Right? And here are the commentators, so don't think I'm lying. And then Muslim men can only talk to Muhammad's wives behind a veil. They have to veil themselves, screen themselves from the men. Min wara'i hijabin. Notice hijab. And then Sahih Bukhari says, the reason why Allah sent down the verse for women to veil themselves, you want to know why? You want to laugh? You want to laugh? Let me enlarge you a little more. Do you know why Allah sent down the verse to veil? You guys, you want to laugh? I'm sure they didn't tell you this. You guys ready to laugh? Let me know. Who's ready? Maybe Scott, I think so. Because when they would go out for the call of nature, because they didn't have toilets inside, you could see someone. One of Muhammad's wives, Sauda bint Zama, whom Muhammad wanted to get rid of and divorce because she was old and fat. The hadith say she was fat. She got old and Muhammad wanted to divorce her. I'll do another session on how evil he was, because I've talked about it, but you've forgotten how evil he was. He was going to get rid of this old fat lady because she wasn't attractive. She made a deal with him. Don't divorce me. Keep me as your wife. Keep me in the home. You don't have to come and visit me and have sex with me. Take my day and give it to Aisha. That's why Muhammad used to visit Aisha twice, because that's how filthy this man was. And I'll do a session to expose him more so I can humiliate Beck for trying to get people to follow this filth. But you know why the veil was sent down? Because she was a fat lady. When she went out to hear the call of nature, Umar saw her. Umar saw her and says, hey, we recognize you, Sauda. You got to cover up, lady. So then Allah sent down the verse, cover yourselves up, wear a hijab. What poor Aisha? Yeah, poor Aisha months her twice a week. But poor Sauda, whom he dumped. Narrated Aisha, the wives of the Prophet used to go to Al-Manasi, a vast open place near Baqiyah at Medina, to answer the call of nature at night. Umar used to say to the Prophet, let your wives be veiled. Notice, Umar is a prophet who is inspired to inspire the Prophet. He's the one who said, veil them. But Allah's apostle did not do so. One night, Sauda bint Zama, the wife of the Prophet, went out at Isha time, and she was a tall lady and a fat one. Umar addressed her and said, I've recognized you, O Sauda. He said so he desired eagerly that the verses of Al-Hijab, the observing of veils by the Muslim, may be revealed. So Allah revealed the verses of Al-Hijab, a complete body covering excluding the eyes. Now, Did you understand what we read? Or if you're not paying attention, you're not going to be able to use this to bury Islam. Number one, it wasn't Allah that moved Muhammad to want a veil. It was Umar. Umar ibn al-Khattab told Muhammad, tell your wives to veil themselves. But Muhammad didn't want to. But Umar kept insisting until Allah agreed with Umar and said, Muhammad, he's right. Here's the verse. Tell them to veil themselves. Wait, you mean Umar is a prophet too? Umar is a prophet? Umar is a prophet? Because he turned out to be right. He told Muhammad, you need to command your wives to veil. And he kept insisting. Muhammad said no. And then Allah agreed with Umar. Yes, have them veil. So Umar was inspired to inspire Muhammad with revelation. And there are actually hadiths where Umar said, my Lord agreed with me in three things. Three things Umar wanted, and Allah made it part of the Quran. I did a session on it. You want me to do another one this week? Umar is more of a prophet than Muhammad. And Allah agreed with Umar and made Umar's revelations part of the Quran. And also how Muhammad mistreated Sauda, to show you how wicked this religion is. I'll do it maybe this week, maybe Lord willing tomorrow. You guys want to hear that? The hadiths say, Umar claimed, my Lord agreed with me in three things. And another narration says, I agreed with my Lord in three things. I wanted three things, and Allah sent it down and made it part of the Quran. Things in which Muhammad disagreed, things in which Umar turned to be right and Muhammad is wrong, and Allah took Umar's side over against Muhammad. Do you know that? And about Sauda, how he neglected her. Okay. So do you now see the reason why the veil came down, folks, or no? Rumble, do you see why it came down? Because Omar told Muhammad, your wives must cover. And Sauda went out to call on nature, and he saw her. He goes, you need to cover yourself. And Allah agreed with Omar, disagreeing with Muhammad. So what do they wear? Hijab. But now, does Allah wear a hijab? Yep. Chapter 42, verse 51. Does Allah wear a hijab? Yep. Here you go. It is not given to any human being that Allah should speak to him unless it be by inspiration, wahi, or from behind a veil, min wari hijabin. Now, if you guys didn't catch it, Allah will only talk to you behind a veil, behind a hijab, or that he sends a messenger to reveal what he wills by his leave. 42:51, right? Now, remember this word, min wari hijabin? Wait, that sounds familiar. Oh, that's the same thing about Muhammad's wives. When you would ask any gift of his wives, ask it from behind a veil, min wari hijabin. Like Muhammad's wives, Allah hides behind a veil. The Arabic is identical. 33:53. See it? Allah hides behind a hijab. Muhammad's wives hide behind a hijab. You see that, Joro? 33:53 says, don't talk to Muhammad's wives unless it's behind a veil, that they're behind a veil. Min wari hijabin. Allah will not talk to you unless it's from behind the veil. Min wari hijabin. Same, man. 42:51. Right? You getting it before I move on? Yeah, they, them, it. All right. Here's another verse that Allah wears a veil. Chapter 83, verse 15. No, indeed, but upon that day they shall be veiled from their Lord. Allah will veil himself from them. And what's the word? It's hijab again. Lama hujbunna. Hujbunna. Hujbun. bunna, trying to see how you pronounce it, means from behind a veil. So Allah will veil himself when people come and approach him. Like a shy woman, like Muhammad's wives. Well, pray, God, purge me of my filth, protect my daughters, see them grow up when we finish the race, and pray for provision. I got a huge chunk of change to pay to the IRS. Pray it won't tank me. Got to take out of the savings. All right, so we got it now. So Beck, what was that about our God becoming a man? And that doesn't happen in Islam. Your God is an it. Your God appears as a man, and your God puts on a veil like a woman. So what is your God? But then he has gonads, testicles. He has a shin, he has a foot. He's got a womb that's a female attached to his throne that speaks, that can touch, that can stand, meaning she too has body parts. She yanks on his nuts to get him to do what she wants him to do. He wears a loincloth. He wears a robe and is odd. He's got at least three right hands. I was going to say 3 right eyes. At least 3 eyes. I mean, you don't get a more grotesque looking monster than that.